All right. Welcome to the Entrepreneur in Residence panel, which will serve as the info session for the incubation at the Circle. Today, we will be speaking with Pooja Chopra, who is our head of programs and leads the incubation programming and has been doing so for the first cohort up until now. We are also joined by three of our cohort entrepreneurs, Shoeb, Jeetesh, and Anjan. We've been talking about them on social media. We've shared their profiles on the emails that we've shared with you as well. So I hope that you all are familiar with all four of them, actually. All four of them are and have been entrepreneurs. And all four of them are very, very, very intimately familiar with the incubation experience that we've been shaping as well as kind of experiencing over the past few months. With that, I'll just quickly take you through the flow of the day. I'll be handing over to Pooja, who will be asking some questions to the panelists, asking them to share their journeys, their stories, as well as answer some questions that we've often heard surfaced from you guys, from you all. And so hopefully we're able to do that. Post that, we will try to create some space with each of the panelists so that some of you can ask all your questions about the programming, the experiences, the challenges, pitfalls, as well as the successes and the highlights of the entrepreneurship incubation program. All right, I'm going to, with that, hand over to Pooja.
Thank you, Aarshiya. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, amazing. Welcome, everybody. And I'm so excited to be taking this info session with our EIRs here. And I remember last year when we were sort of looking for our first cohort and we were getting a lot of questions of how the experience is going to be like. We had to really explain to them how it's potentially going to look like. But now we have these live examples in front of you who can actually tell you how they're going through their journey right now, and also give an opportunity to imagine how your potential journeys will look like with the incubation. To start off with, we have three amazing entrepreneurs, like Aarshiya said, and I'll just sort of quickly introduce what they're doing so that you understand the context when I ask them the questions. Jeetesh is going to start a school which is going to be based on STEM. It's called the Curioso School. And I'm just going to get Jeetesh to talk about it in 1 minute. Go for it, Jeetesh.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm a very STEM-oriented school through which students will learn their concepts with the very first principle thinking-driven methodology and very experiences. Alongside that, they will be introduced to the context in which they are learning. So let's say if you are coming from city manage its traffic, how does it manage its rules, what kind of regulation, what kind of waste management, so on and so forth. All those contexts that the students are experiencing on an everyday will be provided to them through the learning experience. And it will be a very high rigor environment in which students are expected to achieve very good their learning. So yeah, that's the gist of it. I'll hand it over to Pooja.
Thank you, Jeetesh. Next, we have Anjan with us, who's starting a very interesting gap year program for young adults. And this was when I met Anjan for the first time, I was like, wow, I hope I had that opportunity of taking a gap year after my 12th grade and taking some time to pause and deciding what I want to make out of my life. So Anjan, over to you to just talk about the gap year.
Thanks, Pooja. Hi, everyone. My entire journey taught me that it's one of the most important things that happened to me much after my academic years was the learning that came through immersing both in the natural world and in several cultural practices from different parts of the world, including indigenous wisdom, leadership. And when I had that holistic experience, I realized that the age in which this kind of an intervention would be most powerful is when we are transitioning our young teenagers into adulthood, almost like this rite of passage sort of a thing. And so the gap year took birth because it was almost like in 1 year being able to give the young adults the kind of exposure and experiences that I've had that's actually shaped my within and brought out my true natural potential. So that's the offering I would like to give to the young adults of India. Yes, thanks, Pooja.
Thank you, Anjan. And last we have Shoeb. So Shoeb is running the Pana communities in Pune, and he's trying to work with multiple children who are school dropouts, who are like trying to bridge the education gap. He's trying to bring them to grade level, and he's also trying to see how can they actually pursue very strong and ambitious career paths for themselves in the long term. So Shoeb, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Am I audible, Pooja? Hi. Hello, everyone. Really excited to be in between all of you. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming in. Yeah, so my name is Shoeb, and I run a network of community centers here in Pune. So the bottom line is we are trying to sort of, reimagine, rethink how students spend their time after school. Specifically talking about the context in Pune, we have around 280 odd primary schools, to which we just have 40 secondary schools, which means that a lot of students drop out. So the idea is to, how innovatively we can sort of increase the matriculation rate, in the communities as well. My vision from the very beginning, in fact, during my fellowship as well, has been, how do we bring the highest quality resources to the most underserved kids in the communities and then see the magic happen. What worries me is, if we are not able to do that, as a collective, I mean, we would not succeed. We would fail if our kids from the most high need communities are not getting those resources. The idea is to sort of just think what is necessary for our kids to sort of achieve, sort of learn in their middle years and when they're graduating out of 10th and 12th. So that is what I'm trying to build. And the idea is how do we prepare them so that they thrive in the future economy and not just survive. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Shoeb. Thank you so much. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to ask some questions to our entrepreneurs, and these questions will basically enable all of you to make much more informed choices, be more informed about how their incubation journey looks like. So let's start. I'm going to start with Jeetesh. So before actually coming into the incubation, Jeetesh was the vice president at an edtech firm, and he was leading the curriculum design over there. So Jeetesh, you took a very big call of stepping down from a stable job and pursuing this dream to build Curioso. So just want you to share with the panelists that what made you leave a stable job and pursue this dream, and a lot of people out here might be considering that option. So just want you to share that.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the noise on my back end. Something is up in the kitchen. It was one of those things wherein I was working through curriculum and teacher training and teaching myself through about 7 years. And that as an edtech, we were able to make an impact, but not the level of impact that I wanted to create. The school system that is currently existent dampens the curiosity, and that it was very hard to recuperate that even in a very flourishing environment. So I was very disheartened at the end of my 7 years, and I thought, well, I have always wanted to start something which will enable students a space in which they can come and be in wonder of the life around them, be around them and think, wow, this thing works this way. This is amazing. When I was, a friend of mine told me that this opportunity is there, and you really should go for it. So she was one of the reasons that I got to know about it, because last November I did, but she told me about it, and I was very intrigued. Then through a series of conversations with Pooja, through a series of conversations with my friends and family, I decided, well, if there is a time to take a big leap and, test the skills that I have, and additionally make a real impact. It is this. I don't. So that's why I did the jump finally.
Thank you, Jeetesh. And like every time Jeetesh enters a pitch, like he really gets the entire panel to think about how we like lost our curiosity on the way. And like he really sort of believes that education should be extremely relevant for kids, and everything that a child learns in a classroom, he should be able to, or she should be able to apply it in their real life. And they should never like lose that sense of wonder, which is also something that Anjan constantly talks about. Jeetesh, like when you enter the incubation, you were at a very idea stage, like you were still working. When you entered, you were just like trying to like make the entire drawing board ready for Curioso. So it's been like around 6 months. So just want you to share that, like how far have you moved in your journey from like it being a dream to like today, like how is it coming alive for you?
So when I came in, I had a lot of ideas, right? As everyone does. And through discussions with Circle team, through discussions with my cohort members, through discussion with the educators and school leaders from around the globe, I have been able to boil that. I'm just going to go on mute for a minute. Sorry about that. So through those conversations, what I have been able to do is zero in on a handful of concepts that I know for a fact that they work. I have seen their implementation either through my learning process or through the journey of education that I've had in the past. And I've been able to constantly, polish those ideas over and over and figure out which ones would work best in the context that I'm trying to work. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeetesh. Now I'm going to come to Anjan. So Anjan comes from a lot of experience of the film industry, from the ad industry. She also brings a lot of expertise around biomimicry. Like she introduced me to the world of biomimicry. So Anjan, my question to you is like, you've also made like a big jump from working in the film industry to working with educationists in the biomimicry field to like starting a program for young adults. So the question is that how did you make that jump from what you were doing and had deep expertise in to something that you had to explore altogether from the target audience that you were working for, creating this gap year from? So what made you take that leap?
Yeah, thank you, Pooja, for this question. Yes, I spent almost 17 years making TV commercials in Bombay. And during that entire time, I've also been extremely and deeply connected to nature from childhood. So in fact, my work has always been, I think, at the intersection of nature and culture. When I came to about 2012-13, I realized that my calling to serve the natural world became a lot more deeper. And I went and did a lot of work, volunteer work in UK and in Seychelles with wildlife conservation. And then I decided that I want to go deeper into my studies with the natural world. And I did my master's in biomimicry. When I completed my master's, I was still under the impression that, and had already started conducting workshops for product designers and for doing organizational transformation work for a lot of small companies. And that's when I realized that something in my heart, I think, just this little voice just became stronger, like I'm sure it does for many of you who are present here when you're changing from one job to another. There's that little voice that begins to tell, but shouldn't you be working with young adults? Isn't that the place you want to intervene? Isn't that your energy as well? You love celebrating life, and wouldn't you want that to be a part of the young adult's life? And I think the more and more I began to explore that question, the gap year concept began to emerge. And I started to pay attention to that voice within me, which I felt was really saying something about my work in the future. Then when I started to speak to a lot of friends about this concept, PEEP, one of them connected me saying that Circle is going to be starting an incubation program. Do you want to apply to it? And that's how I came into it. I also believe that nothing that we've done in our past career, at least I can speak from my experience, ever feels like it is separate from what we do next. It might feel like a jump, but all that you learn is always preparing you for your journey and for your purpose. And that's what, at least is my experience. All that I've learned in advertising, meeting different people, getting exposed to other cultures, I also see it adding so many layers when I want to interact with the youth, because I can show them the possibilities that exist in the human world, and that we too are a part of nature. For me to say that we too are a part of nature, maybe I had to explore humanity thoroughly and then come to the natural world. So I just feel that we are always on a journey, and these are the different roles we play. So yeah, Pooja, I think that's how I came into the incubation. And always in the hindsight, I see it's also connected.
Yeah, totally. I think one thing leads to the other, but it's all tied together. And I remember Anjan sitting with you 6 months back at the interview, and we were like, why do you want to join the incubation? And you were like, you don't come from the education sector. And one of the things that you really want to build knowledge of or build a network of is this space. Like, you want to understand the education space deeply because it's the first time you're working with young adults. So just want to understand, in the last 6 months, how ahead have you sort of moved in that journey of yours of understanding education as a landscape, as a sector?
I think it's been so spectacular, because it's one thing to hold all of these as concepts, and it's another thing for me when I had to see it, talk to young adults, see different schools, speak to different school founders, school leaders, experts, observe the children in their natural habitat, which is their classrooms or in different activities, and be able to evaluate and discuss it with Pooja or Sandeep or other members of the circle, our own cohort, which comes from such diverse backgrounds, their perspectives. I literally feel that what I could have probably not been able to gather on my own, maybe even if I was in the educational space for few years, I've been able to do that over 5 to 6 months, because every experience is so well curated, and constantly there are so many reflective questions, and we are meeting such diverse set of people. So over the 5 to 6 months, today I can say, Pooja, that I have such a deeper understanding of what's happening in the educational space, not just in India, but also in many parts of the world whom you all have exposed us to so far. And whatever choices I'm making now is not conceptual. It comes from a space of having observed and then concluding many things. Yeah.
Thanks, Anjan. And I feel what makes the journey of all of you like really powerful is not only what I feel you're going through in terms of exposure, but also your own curiosity and continuous learning. Like, just to sort of ask those school leaders the right kind of questions, to ask for time to make those connections, I feel has also led to where you all are today. And thank you for sharing that, Anjan. Next, we'll come to Shoaib. So Shoaib, when you sort of applied for the incubation, you were already running Pana communities for almost half a year. You had a team, you had 3 community centers that were running. So when you applied to the incubation, what were some skills or what was some knowledge that you wanted to build for which you thought that I'll apply for the incubation?
Yeah, thank you so much, Pooja. So I mean, there were so I always believe that I am a learner. So the first thought, when I just saw Circle coming together was like, I have a lot to learn. But talking very specifically, I mean, being a Teach for India fellow, and before that as well, I was in and around education. That realization was there that something, in our system is not working. And even if we, let's imagine if we work very hard and if we get all our kids to read, all our kids to do math well. Specifically talking about kids from highly communities, and that is what the challenge is. And that is what 90% of the non-profit organizations in India are talking about and are trying to do. I just kept asking myself, even if they get their 10th done, get their 12th done, where will they land? What's the odds of success? Even if you get your 10th and 12th done, are you, where are you in that level playing field? So, talking to Sandeep, learning about the circle, one realization I had is, what you were discussing at the circle was, how do we think beyond this? How do we sort of reimagine this? How do we sort of, think of a system which is working for all kids? How do we think of, getting kids to places where it's not just about reading math, it's not about academics, it's about those in-demand skills which the future is demanding. I think that was one thing that sort of hit me, and that is something that I connected to. That is what I wanted to learn more. In terms of skills, I mean, the incubation offers a diverse, the idea that I had before applying, and I mean that was a little narrow. I mean, once I joined, I realized that how wide it is. It is spread across. You talk about things around storytelling to pitch to like designing. Getting exposed to some wonderful designers who come from that experience during the course of incubation, having a coach, etc. That is something that I had an idea about, but then some of the skills that I have built over the past 6 months have just been incredible, and I mean they are so transferable in nature as well.
Thank you, Shoaib. And to sort of help our guests to sort of visualize this a little more, like would love to sort of have you share an example of one of the experiences that really stood out to you, that really sort of pushed you to reimagine or reinvent what you have been doing at Pana Communities. So if you could just share one of those experiences that was very empowering.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just talk about the recent one. I mean, we were visiting some of the high-performing schools in UK, and I mean, one thing that hit me, and this is something that I've been really thinking about since the time I'm back, is, some of these schools are like really focusing on integration of industry, integration of, the workplaces, not at a college level, but at a school level as well. Like, what are these schools doing? They are going to the industry, they're going to corporates, and they're asking them, okay, tell us what are the skills you need. And they are trying to bring these industries on the table with them to design together. And I mean, that in itself was so thought provoking for me to just look at the success that they have got. And, it is just amazing to just know and realize that how powerful it will be for these kids and how relevant it will be, because what they're going to learn is what the future is going to demand of them. At the moment, I mean, by and large, 80 to 90% of the schools, the skills that they are offering are skills which are going out of demand. So, I mean, that is something that got really pushed. And what came into design, I mean, even before the trip to London, I mean, the schools that we visited, even in India, and the discussions that we had, and the people that we were exposed to, I mean, the design itself of our model center has shifted so drastically. I mean, just one example I'll give. Initially, our rooms looked like classrooms. There was a desk for a teacher, there was a chair, and I mean, I remember having one conversation with my coach, and we were just discussing, and we just thought that why do you need a separate desk and a chair for the teacher, and how that is creating a sort of a power dynamics in itself within a classroom. Like why I mean, small things like these, these are the things which are like informing the design. And yeah, we are in the middle of like putting together like a state-of-the-art learning center, community center. And I mean, once it comes to life, I mean, a lot of learning that I have had in past 6 months, I mean, we'll be able to demonstrate that, in terms of a model that we're trying to do. Yeah.
Thank you, Shoaib. And Shoaib was talking about the London Screen Academy in UK, which sort of provides free education to 800 children who want to pursue different jobs in the film industry. And it was one of the most empowering experiences for me as well to see children not study subjects, but study things like hairdressing, costume design, editing. So yeah, it was one of the most powerful experiences for me also, Shoaib. So thank you, three of you, for sharing. I know the people are waiting to ask three of you a lot of questions that will sort of help them make a more informed choice into the incubation. So I'm going to hand it over to Aarshiya, who's just going to tell us how we're going to get into the Q&A space. And yes, over to you. Thank you, Jeetesh, Shoaib, and Anjan for answering those questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Pooja. We're going to basically proceed this way. We're going to have a few questions for everybody to ask right now to our panelists. And then based on the time that we have, we may break out into rooms so that more people get a chance to ask questions from any one of the panelists. Yeah. Okay, so with that, let's have whoever has like a really burning question right now, and if you feel like this is a question that a lot of people will have, raise your hand on the using the reactions, and we'll kind of line you up. Naveen already has a question. Thank you, Naveen. Let's have a couple more people raise their hands, or you could also drop your questions on the chat, and we'll invite you to ask post that. All right.
So can I ask the question now or?
Yes, go for it.
Yeah. Oh, hi, good evening, everyone. It's really a pleasure being here in this young crowd here. And I feel honored to be part of this young entrepreneurial crowd here. I'm also a very young entrepreneur who's from the armed forces. And I came out of the armed forces, and last 8 years, I've been an entrepreneur with a mentoring organization. And now I've stepped out on my own. And my dream has been to work with youth. And my question to the panelists out here is, you all are doing a wonderful work. You know, I've in my journey with education and with the thing, I feel there's a huge amount of work to be done in our country. And I have a question to you because I'm facing a big challenge. Which demographic of the student population are you guys handling? Okay. Why am I saying this? Because if you look at students today, in my opinion, and I may be wrong, you can correct me, only 10% of the class is actually academically oriented. Maybe less than that. 95% of them have other interests. Unfortunately, our education curriculum is only academic. And it has been the case for donkey's years. And I don't see much of a change, though people are talking about NEP and all that, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to the ground, we still are following the same curriculum. We still have to give the same exams, and every parent is scared stiff that 10th aate mera bacha pass hoga ki nahi hoga, 11th mein admission hoga ki nahi hoga. Now coming to the children who are dyslexic, who are autism oriented, or who are sports oriented, or who are ADHD, you know, there's a big challenge today. We may say that, you know, there are this organization, that organization, but in reality, the parents are in trouble. And I'm facing those situations with those children, and I really have a heart out for them, and I want to do something for them because I believe that these children are special. And I'm a runner, I'm a marathon runner, and I'm telling you, I was never a runner when I was a kid. I learned running when I was 35. And today I run the fastest in my age group. So I'm saying that everybody out there has got a talent, and this talent needs to be tapped into. Now, what is happening is there's over stress on academic performance, and there's, you know, this education and this marks and this board exams and this curriculum and this entrance exam. I was also a victim to it. I was an IIT aspirant. I never wanted to join the Navy. I didn't make it into IIT, and I know what went through my mind in 80s when I did not make it into IIT. And I believe that no child should go through that kind of a mental trauma. Because every child out there is special, has got a talent. Now, is there a solution there out there with you guys that we can work with these children to make them feel that they are special psychologically? And not only them, for the parents, because children are good. Children get trained like this. What about the parents? Parents are the biggest obstacles in this whole course, because parents are, I don't blame them. They are driven by the system. Every parent wants their child to be happy and safe. So is there a solution that you people are working on that can work not only with children, because parents are a very, very important stakeholder in this game. So I think there has to be parent education along with children education. And this parent education has to be taken very seriously in schools or in education system, because parents are not educated. Parents think they know everything, but they don't know anything, because those children are special. Those children have got talents. The world has got opportunities for them. You know, there are people who are from the acting scene out here. There are designers, there are fashionists, there are There are 1,000 fields out there which can be explored by the children, but how many children are
wanted to
affected?
kind of pause you
So the
there.
question, so can this panelist, any one of them take on this question? I think Anjan could be a good person, and even Shoaib, who is doing a wonderful work with the community, you probably could take on this question and answer me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for your question. Just to answer it very quickly. Is someone doing anything, or are we doing anything about it? Individually, of course, the question that you asked and the thoughts that you shared, of course, very powerful. And this is something that many educators in India are talking about, and this is something that we at the Circle also keep talking about, within ourselves. Sort of a straightforward answer is an organization like Circle is doing this. The idea of incubating different people who have different ideas, who don't see school as boxes to sort of cage students into, is an idea which is powerful in itself, right? And within the cohort also, you have someone like Anjan, you have someone like Jeetesh, then you have someone like, Midun, who is specifically building a model of school where, inclusion is at the center. So the thing is, once we have a lot of proof points, once we have models which are working actually for kids and are showing results, which are different, which are challenging the status quo, the change will always be mobilized around those models. And until and unless we have models which demonstrate that change, which become that model of excellence, it will be difficult. And that is why not individually, I don't think so we can solve all problems around parents, we can solve all problems around inclusion, we can solve all problems around integrating academics to the interest of children. But these smaller models, these smaller schools in different places are going to collectively be that force of change. Yeah, I don't know if that helps. Anjan, if you would like to add.
So yes, that's a lovely question. And I think like Shoaib mentioned, Midun in our cohort is specifically working. He's already had a great success with his organization, where a team of psychologists along with a team of entrepreneurs are helping special children and trying to normalize their needs within the society. And now he is scaling it and building it to offer much deeper engagements for the children who need that. Like you clearly mentioned, I think there are the creative people who yearn for a slightly different form of profession. And then there are those who prefer to be engineers and doctors, and we need them all in the society. So it's not about giving one set of people more education over another. But unfortunately, the stress has been more on the academic side that we have seen, and more creative people in other industries need that opportunity as well. And there are several schools in India and several individuals in India doing great work. It just needs to become more mainstream and need to become successful and sustainable. And I think these kind of incubation programs actually help to not only make it a successful model, but a replicable model as well. So there are people who are doing it. And if you are thinking about it, then this would be a great place for you to incubate your idea. I hope together we've addressed your question.
Yeah, if three of you could just quickly also share the demographics of the children you're working with. That'll be helpful.
I'm working with 15 to 18-year-olds, homeschooled, alternate education, mainstream schools. It's a mix. Any youth within India, 15 to 18, interested in taking a year off to explore all the different kinds of interesting, regenerative and sustainable knowledges that are available before making future career choices.
All right.
Start.
Shoaib has answered.
Sorry, I can I just intervene over here?
What we'll do is we'll move into breakout rooms so that everybody gets a chance to ask their questions. Shoaib has also answered their demography question up there. Thank you so much. And Jeetesh, if you could get your response over chat or that would also be great. One other thing is that We will now move on into breakout rooms. We think that Shrey's question is actually really, really relevant. That if you were to start the circle incubation all over again, what would you do differently to best prep and orient yourself for what is to come in the incubation? Perhaps each of you could start your breakout rooms off with a response to that question and then open it up to questions from everybody else. We are now going to open into breakout rooms. We're going to have it approximately for 20 minutes so that everybody gets a chance. We're going to start doing that now. All right, so 3 rooms. All right. We'll open all rooms and we will start with a response to this question. Thank you so much, everybody, for starting off. We will then come back and maybe end with a final message from all the entrepreneurs. Yeah. All right, let's go. Opened all rooms, please join. I'm now going to also assign the entrepreneurs to each of us. All right, so let's hope everybody's back now. And let's hope at least some of the group's questions were answered. And I hope some of the questions that were answered, even if they were not yours, helped resolve some of the queries that are in your head as well. If you still have questions, do write to us at info@thecircleindia.org. And we are here for you. We have also reached out to many of you. If you have registered already for the incubation, then either we already have reached out to you or we are in the process of reaching out to you. So if you are thinking of submitting an application by the 28th, we highly recommend that at the very least you register today so that we can reach out to you to answer your questions as well. With that, I also wanted to just thank Pooja, Anjan, Jeetesh, and Shoeb for coming over and answering all the questions, and would love for you all to finish this panel out by sharing one wish that you have for all the people who are applying to the incubation. Pooja, you want to start us off? Oh, Anjan's already ready. Let's go.
I wish you all a joyful process. I think even the process is so important, not just the outcome. As you prepare to articulate your vision, as you prepare to articulate why you're doing what you're doing, even if you get selected or not, it becomes so clear to what you want to do. And I think so I would say, I would wish that you all have a great process.
Thanks, Anjan. Yes, definitely. Also, as like Anjan did, do share like one like a strategy or a way to kind of approach your application. Thanks, Anjan.
Yeah, I can go next. I mean, +1 to what Anjan shared, and I was sharing this in the group as well. I mean, what helped me was, being radically honest about what I'm thinking. I mean, I was absolutely clear why I was doing this. Not in the sense of articulating problem or having data or anything. I was just clear that why I want to do this and why I think I'm the right person to, maybe solve this problem or work on this problem. I think, and just sharing, just being what you are. I mean, that is, fundamentally important to, impress these folks, if not, if not more. So yeah, I mean, I just wish all of you really well. As Anjan shared, whatever is the outcome of it, I mean, the process in itself, both the application and assessment center, will help you articulate, your problem and your solution, and the way you are thinking about solving the problem that you are thinking about. It will make it much, much, much more clearer. So yeah, all the best. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Shoaib. And everything that Shoaib said makes a lot of sense. I'll just add like a couple of my, both Shoaib and Anjan said that makes a lot of sense. I'll just add a couple of more things, which are A, be completely truthful in the way that you're presenting what you want to do and why you want to do it. Because see, once you're there, if you even let's say you get through the application process and you reach the center, there are very clear metrics through which you can be told, okay, you really do want to achieve this goal. B, if you make it to the assessment center, like, interact with the educators around you, they come from a lot of experience, they come from a lot of brilliant ideas, and you will have a great experience learning from them as well. Besides that, enjoy the process of application. It's a fun application to fill as well. Aarshiya has done a very hard work in making that. So yeah, enjoy that process as well. That's all.
Thanks, Jeetesh, for that. Priya has also dropped the link to register today on the chat. So if you haven't already, please do so. Pooja, we'd love to hear from you on hopes and strategies, maybe on how they can.
Yeah, I think I wish that all of you are really bold to, like, take the courage to write your dreams out there and sort of not shy away from what you want to build. And it's for all the dreamers out there who've been thinking for years how the schooling system should be, how children should be learning. And we really are looking forward to reading your applications and seeing what you want to build. So yeah, hold that courage and be bold to just share that with us during your application. Some of the strategies like the entrepreneur shared, please bring the most genuine foot forward and share with us honestly what you want to build. And we are here to sort of go on that journey with all of you.
Amazing. Thank you. So the question that Shruti asked was, do we have to do the entire application in one go, or it can be saved and done in parts? This is what I'll share with you. The registration itself takes 5 minutes. When you do it, it takes you to your second level, which is going to be your essay questions and all of that. I recommend, because this has happened, that sometimes your computer cache might not work in the same way, that you save your responses in a separate document just in case it doesn't get saved. Typeform is supposed to, but for some computers with your security settings, it might not work. So just keep saving your questions there as well. And with that, Priya's is going to launch a quick poll. It's 2 quick questions, going to take you 2 seconds to answer them. So do make sure that you answer that poll before you